What careers or jobs most attract psychopaths? I was a connie. I don't know which came first, the drugs or psychotic behavior, but I witnessed both in bulk. Craziest experience you've had as a connie? Go, please. Everything we did was slightly illegal, so it's hard to scale it. After it feels so normal, but long story short, I'm still in possession of another man's teeth after he almost got us all busted by doing stupid speep right outside the bunkhouse. Raleigh, North Carolina. Homeowners Association President. One of my favorite anecdotes. Dennis Rader, a notorious serial killer known as BTK, stopped committing murders after he got a job enforcing HOA rules. Because he got as much satisfaction harassing people over pretty bullspeep as he did from torturing and murdering his victims. He was a compliance officer with the city council, not with an HOA, but yes, he was notorious for writing people up for petty bullspeep. He also really liked getting people's dogs destroyed for no reason. Little known field that is rife with psychopathy, public accounting. Shout out to r/accounting. Come for the therapy, stay for the memes. There's been a study on this. It included corporate executives, but also surgeons and chefs, both of whose work tends not to require not much actual socialization, or at least only with subordinates, not customers who have to be greeted pleasantly. I'm a chef. Can confirm. Paparazzi. Who was the first to think, let's harass celebrities and play the victim when they lash out? What's beep? When they started paying them enough money to not care for photos. I think statistically it's surgeons and CEOs. Worked with many a surgeon. We used to wonder about some of them, especially the one who worked with some of the assistants for 10 years and didn't know their names. This guy would walk through the halls and not really even acknowledge your presence. He truly didn't see/care about others. His motto was pain is the patient's problem. I mean, spending almost a decade after grad school's working grueling 100 weeks does not sound like a lifestyle that attracts people. Surgeons work 100 hours a week. How come anyone ever survives a surgery? Can vouch for this. Uncle is a retired surgeon. Would sometimes work 4 days straight with a couple of cat naps squeezed in, if there was time. I remember being shocked by this too, but his wife, who is a nurse, said it's extremely common / the expectation for surgeons, and that they just get used to it and accept that sleep deprivation isn't an excuse for mistakes. Seems crazy to me. It's absolutely absurd. We are not allowed to drive when impaired, but for the people who cut you open it's a requirement. Sales. It's known that psychopaths excel in sales because they do whatever they can to get ahead. Learned about it in psych in my undergrad and it always stuck with me. Edit. I've worked sales jobs myself, so I'm not judging anyone at all. I'm just relaying information I recalled from my undergrad. My dad is a born salesman, people always said. He's a total psychopath and a peeped up weirdo lol. My dad is a born salesman, people always said. What a backhanded compliment that is. The only thing worse is natural politician. John Ronson wrote a fantastic book, The Psychopath Test. He interviewed people who created and used the test, as well as many psychopaths. Psychopaths in his book ranged from imprisoned murderers to very wealthy CEOs. Peeping car sales. Not sure if the job attracts them or makes normal people that way, but it's full of them. My dad's car salesman offed his wife. I read that as offered his wife. As in buy the car, sleep with the missus. I read your comment, and I was like, I know. Wait, what? My peeping brain read, that is offered to. I find those often in hours are not people that should be in hours. As a manager, there are times when you need to do something so evil even the legal department won't do it. For those times, you have hours. Banking. The higher you advance in the hierarchy, the less empathy you have. Exponentially. Pizzeria security. Is that a thing? Not anymore. Ominous. Most clinical psychopaths over 30 on the checklist are actually so impulsive and out of control that they either don't have jobs because they're in prison right now, or they bounce from job to job either quitting or getting fired fast. A prominent trait of psychopathy is actually an inability to hold down jobs for long periods of time. People might say surgeons or CEOs. That's psychopathic traits, not full-blown psychopaths. Bingo bango. We should be thanking Dennis Reynolds, not the CEO of Applebee's. That man gave us one lit Thursdays. He peeping cares. Serial killers seem to like positions of authority, but almost always have manual assault/battery priors, so they often end up as rent-a-cops and security guards. The DMV. Power trippin'. Take a number. Go peep yourself, ash peeps. Reddit mods. Jobs. Internet janitors. Now I respect janitors. Lawyers. CEOs. Surgeons and civil servants, from what I've read, have some of the higher rates. One career that doesn't immediately come to mind, but makes a ton of sense when you think about it, is charity worker, especially if you get to management. What do psychopaths want? To get away with abusing power over others. What better way to do that than to surround yourself with powerless people who desperately need whatever the charity is providing? And typical charity workers that are extremely helpful, caring people who are most inclined to want to see the good in others. I have a friend with PTSD from being abused by his boss and being forced to witness his boss abuse the people who needed the charity while working at a non-profit, and his therapist told him his story is surprisingly common. Unemployment department phone employee. Construction. As a construction worker, I have met literally the worst human beings I've ever met while in the trades. One guy, because I quit working for a speepty company, legit said he should rape me. Like, okay bud. Peepin' weirdo. Some. Not all. But yeah, I totally believe it. My sister very briefly dated a guy who was in construction. He was serious when he told my sister that his version of fishing was dropping a stick of dynamite in the water and watching the fish float to the surface. He stayed over our house for a family party and joked to me, "Yeah, better close your door tonight or I'll come get ya." Right. That's the best thing to say to your new girlfriend's little sister. O_O. The weirdest part was when he flipped out when my sister wore a pair of open-toe heels for their date. Then he threatened to burn down our house after she made a joke about how he didn't like her shoes. The guy definitely had screws loose. I don't know that it attracts psychopaths, but psychopaths make excellent first responders, and they're far less likely to freak the peep out in an emergency or get stuck helping the one who screams loudest. Psychopaths aren't necessarily maladjusted. In theory. We generally only hear about what info we get from studying in jail, so IDK if this is true, but I believe the chances of running into a total psycho go up along with the chain of command. The higher up the chain you go, the more likely you'll find a psychopath. Because having no remorse is beneficial to the position. Peep traffickers. Police officer. Probably suicide bombers. Teachers. God yes. Encountered some sick puppies while in school. One of them broke my rib while tossing me out of class. I dared to drop a pencil on the floor. I was too scared to tell my parents because a teacher is always right. Politics. Self-made millionaires. I've known quite a few for all my life and all but one moved far away from reality. Some used to tell me that you don't get to a million without being a peep, and it seems true every time. They're always surrounded by people that treat them like kings, just to profit slightly from their wealth. When they enter the local bakery, they come in with the expectations that you'll be humbled, and ignoring the queue will just start summing up their order and leave without paying. The law does not apply to them, and common people are often just annoying and in their way. Not catering to their wishes means you'll lose their business. Meaningful relationships don't exist. Being poor is a choice, and then they die alone. Literally anyone on the PTA for a school. I swear to God the head of the PTA is always some crazy ass mom. Lawyers. You have to defend your client no matter what. Edit pardon sociopaths. And I believe that's what you're discussing. Sociopathy is much more common. That's psychopathy and both are the more extreme versions of antisocial personality disorder. Sociopathy is one who lacks empathy, while psychopaths have limited conscience or moral guidance. Right now, I'm inclined to say the presidency. I don't know about others, but I'm interested in becoming a mailman. CEO of a tech startup. Snippin's a good job, mate. I'd say business, but that's just my unprofessional opinion. I'm not talking your everyday businessman though. I mean more on the side of economics / someone high up in the ranks. They do say the top 1% of the population who basically run the world are psychopaths after all. Look to the White House. Assassins. Surgeons. I mean, I'm thinking of going towards game development and make a game that says 3 available endings and only put 2 endings. Those people who hold big MLM showcases and scam dozens of people from their home on a regular basis. POTUS. Psychopaths. There's a documentary on this by CBC. It discusses CEO and politician to be among the top jobs that attract them. I work as a specialist in mergers and acquisitions at Pierce & Pierce. Blood spatter analyst. GOP senator. Apparently the presidency of the United States. Political office and business executives. Also music and film stardom. Anywhere they can be the center of attention and or wield a great amount of power. It's usually the top business people, because they don't care about other people and they usually use others to get to the top. School book depository clerk. Anything that gives a person power of some kind over others is going to attract psychopaths, but the top 10 are: 1. Corporate executive. 2. Lawyer. 3. Media television / radio. 4. Sales. 5. Surgeon. 6. Journalist. 7. Law enforcement officer. 8. Clergy. 9. Chef. 10. Civil servants. Politicians are frequently several of those things, such as they are all by definition civil servants, but a great many of them are lawyers. Many have run successful businesses, and not a few have been successful media personalities. Evidence Reagan, Trump, Schwarzenegger, and Ventura. It helps to explain why Washington DC has the highest number of psychopaths per capita of the US, and I suspect the world, though Brussels likely gives them a good run for the money. Forensics is full of people who want people to die terrible deaths so they can experience thrilling drama book-like experiences. Insurance doctors. The lies they write down without a wink. The only thing you can do is fight them in courts. In Belgium they are known to drag it out as long as they can. They count on you DIYing or ruining you financially. All this while telling you to trust them. Stripping, and before you say it, yes, it's a career as well. All I'm saying is my account's number starts with 666. The sample station at a Trader Joe's. Too many people came to me for free therapy and lunch. They'd eat all the samples and then tell me about how good their poop was this morning. Not even kidding about that one. A police chase ended in front of me. I witnessed several mental breakdowns and much more. However, because I was in the sample station, I missed the fight at the register over who was in line first, where someone got body slammed to the ground. Meet a lot of real weirdos when you work in a place anyone would go to. Crossing guards. Always telling you what to do and what not to do and when to do it. The peeping entitlement these people have. I've met some crossing guards who take their jobs way too seriously. The signs were there. Upper management, politics, and religion. Metal welders. Have witnessed 2 knife fights with bark scooters. Positions in high government. Politics. CEO. Government. Government or leadership jobs in general. Cops right. Call center / it help desk. Those 2 jobs will turn you from a funny bunny to where is my axe. Oh, you know, just in case. I have worked in both roles and they are seen as the speep takers. Had a bad day, tail it out on that faceless person. From my experience, therapists. As far as I realized, prison. The government and the state hurts small business owners way too much with taxes and socialist dumbuses. President of USA. I'm currently watching the Netflix series Mindhunter, and most psychopathic maniacs like being a cop.